You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is brought to you by Peach State Payments. Ethical processing, more profit, less stress. Chiro HD, more than an EHR. Projects management simplified. The Chiro Speaking Company. Attract, educate, and convert. Chiro Spring, cloud-based, user-friendly software with all the essential features chiropractors need. Rudman Relight. The IFCO. Chiro Moguls. Chiro Health USA. Sherman College of Chiropractic. Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, and Life West College of Chiropractic. Let's hustle. This episode of Chiro Hustle is brought to you by Relight Hydration by Redmond. Here's the truth. Most Americans are walking around dehydrated, low energy, brain fog, muscle cramps, afternoon crashes, and many people think they just need more coffee, when they actually need more electrolytes. Because hydration isn't just about drinking more water, it's about the minerals. Your body relies on electrolytes like sodium, potassium, and trace minerals to help your cells actually absorb and use the water you drink. Without those minerals, water alone doesn't do the job. That's where Relight Hydration comes in. Relight is built around Rudman Real Salt, a natural, mineral-rich salt harvested from an ancient seabed in Utah. It provides the foundational sodium your body needs for proper hydration, along with balanced electrolytes to support energy, muscle function, and daily performance. No artificial dyes, no unnecessary fillers, just clean electrolytes built around real mineral salt. Because at Redmond, we believe the secret's in the salt. If you're new to Relight, start with their sample pack so you can try multiple flavors and find your favorite. Once hydration becomes part of your daily rhythm, you'll feel the difference. And chiropractors understand this well. The nervous system runs on electrical signals, and electrolytes help support that communication throughout the body. If you're tired of hitting the wall mid-afternoon, it might not be more caffeine you need. It might just be better hydration. Go to chirohustle.com and get 25% off of Relight with their exclusive promo. Hydrate smarter, move better, stay aligned.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 757 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I'm your producer, Luke Millette, and here's your host, James Chester.
So today we have the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Jennifer Bonde. If you want to hear our conversation about business strategy and the exit, stay tuned for the full episode. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle podcast. Today I have Jennifer Bonde on with me. I'm really excited for this one. What is this, 757th iteration of the Chiro Hustle podcast? We're 8.5 years into this game. And we're going to be talking today about her incubator, the Well Biz 360 program, which she does some business strategy and some coaching through that. We're going to talk about her Chiro Freedom Formula that she's in partnership with Rosemary Bertansky. We're going to talk about her story too, but really we're going to talk about the exit and why some clinics don't sell, and how she's using AI and GPTs into her methods, and how she has learned how to keep associates long-term. But before we get into that, I'm going to give you our big why. Why do we do what we do over here at Chiro Hustle? Well, first things first is freedom of speech. We know what it's like to be traffic throttled, shadowed, banned, and censored. And we'd never do that to you. And we believe the chiropractic profession deserves to have freedom of speech. We also believe in medical freedom and family health freedom. Those are not the same thing. But if you're looking for those things, go find a chiropractor in your area, and they'll help you with those details of how to get a healthy family and yourself healthy. Philosophically speaking, we believe in BJ Palmer's Sacred Trust, and we protect that. If you guys don't know what that is, go to the show notes, check it out. Even if you've been practicing for 3 decades, you're going to learn more about chiropractic than you did previously. I guarantee you. If you know a chiropractic student that needs information on chiropractic, please share the show with them. I know they're not teaching philosophy as hardcore as they used to, and they're probably not talking about the next things I'm going to discuss with you, which are subluxation, innate intelligence, universal intelligence. We believe that when man or woman, the physical, gets adjusted, it connects them to man or woman, the spiritual, which creates educated intelligence. And that's my philosophy. And that's the why of Chiro Hustle. And this is 757. And this is Jennifer Bonde. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, James, for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack when we open up that way, but it also gives people a chance because they're all waiting to exhale. And they're like, oh gosh, that was fast and furious. But I think all those things are necessary for people to understand the profession. And I think that's why Chiro Hustle exists, is to give a platform for chiropractors to talk about this beautiful profession. So we'll open up with that. Your story. I don't know it, but how did you get into chiropractic?
It's a pretty good story. I was in my first year of college, and I'm pretty goal oriented. Was kind of floundering a bit, really not clear on what I wanted to do. I was an athlete in high school. I went to a chiropractor here in Birmingham, Michigan, and he helped me a lot. It got me back on my feet. And so I had a frame of reference for chiropractic, but I hadn't really thought about it as a profession. So I'm in my first year of college. I'm in the second semester. I remember it's winter. It's freezing cold. I'm walking home to my dorm, and it was like a bird whispered in my ear, kind of out of left field. You need to go to chiropractic school. Just kind of one of those moments where, you stop and you listen. And back in those days, this was, this was in 1991, so a long time ago. There was no internet, there was no Google. So I heard it and thought about it. And the next day I may have been the same day, went to the library to do my research, to figure that out. How do I do that? I have no idea. I don't know what it entails. But it was a moment that was a pivotal one for me that shifted my mind. And, when I decide something, it's all go. So that's what kind of got me into this profession. I left that school, got all my prereqs, went to Logan, and graduated in 1996. And I actually ended up buying the practice where I was a patient in high school. So came back to Birmingham, Michigan, still own my practice, have a partner in that practice now. And that's my story. That's what got me in.
Well, I always love to hear these because everybody has this like pivotal moment where chiropractic has actually helped them, or they didn't know anything about the profession and they went to college just because they wanted to help people. Mm-hmm. So it's either there's two streets. It's a two-way. I got helped, or I want to help people. But thinking about it more and more, you've helped a lot of people with your business strategy systems. Let's talk you wearing the hat of the advisor, talking to chiropractic students. What advice might you give to them based on your experiences of working within the chiropractic profession for as long as you have?
Yeah, there's a lot of those things that I wish I knew back then, sort of feelings. And so how I think I'd answer that would be, really, we don't get taught in depth how to run a business. We're taught really well how to be a chiropractor. And so I think why there's a lot of chiropractors that are unfortunately no longer practicing is partly because we don't have those skills. And so learn the business side, take a minute, get a mentor, find somebody that can show you the way so that you have the success, not only with patient care directly, but also being able to run a business along with it. That would be probably my biggest piece of advice for somebody in school is don't forget about that part. Yes, go learn how to be an amazing doctor, but also remember that if you ever plan to own your own practice, you need to really understand how a business functions and get the support you need along the way.
Or maybe we reverse engineer the whole thing and we say, go get a business program under your belt and then go to chiropractic school.
That would be one way to go about it, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, I think it's just there's always different methods of how people think about it. Like, go become the doctor and then learn business, or maybe we should learn business in school.
Yeah, for sure. Look, some of it comes with just experience and going through those steps as a business owner and really digging in to find what you need to know and what you need to understand. But if you ask the right questions and you find the right people to give you that help and find that community, we can make it a lot easier on ourselves.
Well, good news is people that don't understand business go into business all the time, and
Yep.
1 out of 2 successful after 5 years. So I think it's a 50% success rate out there. It doesn't matter if you have a doctorate degree or you went to high school. So
Yep.
I think the more that you understand business, the more chance at success you'll be.
Yep, for sure. Absolutely.
So let's talk about Chiro Freedom Formula. Get
Sure.
right into it. Tell us what it is and how are you helping chiropractors with it?
So what Chiro Freedom Formula is, Dr. Rosemary Batansky and I developed Chiro Freedom Formula about a year ago. We launched Chiro Freedom School just this past October. And really what it's designed to do is help doctors learn how to become a CEO of their practice, understand the business, understand how to read a P&L, tracking their KPIs, understanding what OVA, PVA, and case average is. And we want to help support you on the business and operational side so that you can have success as a practitioner. And there's so many people out there that are kind of lone wolves that don't have the support that they need. And so what we're really priding ourselves in is developing a community of people that support each other in Chiro Freedom School as well. So that's the crux of it. We're using some AI tools to help you. We're developing some custom AI tools that will help with the operational side of your business, and just take away those major pain points that we have as doctors who are trying to see patients all day, but also wear that CEO hat. And how can you wear that CEO hat most efficiently? So,
well, I think, Napoleon Hill called that the power of a mastermind.
Yeah.
And it's important to have those people supporting each other and sharing best practice ideas with each other. So it's good to see that you're creating that type of environment for people to learn from each other and share best practice ideas. And I mean, it would be really hard to have a conversation in 2025 bridging into 26 without people talking about the advent of AI.
Yeah.
So how are you wrestling that, and how are you implementing that into your systems that you've already established?
No, that's a great question. What we're doing right now is we're creating custom GPTs and custom AI tools that are things like mindset coaching, creating content, doing SWOT analysis. We just last weekend did a 3-hour planning session for 2026, and we had about 25 people on the call, where we really spent some time building out, what does their 2026 look like? What are their goals? What are their next steps? And so AI is a part of that. I think we've got about 30 plus custom tools to help support the operations of the practice, systems, doing a practice audit. Like I said, the SWOT analysis. I even created one on understanding your practice's value, because I think that's, from a business side, that's one of the things that I think is really important for you to understand, because I see so many doctors that just shut their doors. And so that's how we're using AI to help doctors in their practices.
So give some clarity to the people in the back of the room.
Sure.
What's the SWOT analysis?
Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So really looking at your business and understanding what are the strengths that you have, and then of course what are your weaknesses, and then how can we support you in improving those weaknesses in 2026. And then opportunities, how can we expand on the opportunities that you have available to you today? And then threats, what are the things that are creating the most risk in your business? Things like, I am a sole practitioner, and if I'm a sole practitioner, what happens if something happens to me? Things like, I have an associate, but I'm no longer seeing patients, and so I'm dependent on that associate. But is that associate a vested key employee? Like, they're not going to go anywhere. And that's a win-win. Done right is a win-win for both parties. So yeah, that's what a SWOT does. And it helps you to understand what are the things next year that you want to build out to improve the overall function and transferable value in your practice.
So this tees it up for me to ask you, where are the opportunities for chiropractors coming into 26?
I think there's so many. I mean, with health care changing the way that it has this year, I mean, we're all, I think, pretty happy about RFK being in office. I think that there are just so many great opportunities for chiropractic. And so for me and for Rose and I, what we really want to do is help shore up the business side so we can reach as many patients as possible.
So that gives me a line of thought that I love to ask people on this podcast is, where do you see the profession going in the next decade with what you guys are implementing and how you're helping build successful offices?
Gosh, I think what I'd like to see is doctors staying in the profession longer, having success in the profession so they can reach as many patients as possible and help as many people as possible. I want to see doctors building true wealth through scalable operations, having more predictable revenue, growing real business value. And again, you can't just focus on the patient care because the business side will slip. There's got to be a balance between both. If your business isn't functioning, you can't help your patients. And so that's where I like to approach, and that's where my passion is in helping the profession, is really, how can I support you in your business so that you have the success that you want to have, and you can focus even more so on the patient care if that's what you so desire? Or do you want to create freedom in your practice and scale your business so that you can maybe do what Rose and I are doing now, which is to help other business owners out there?
Well, I just think that these are fundamental things. If we don't have a lot of financially scalable and successful practitioners, we have a very challenged next decade.
Yes. Yep.
So do you feel that the mainstream patient is losing faith in the big box medicine style approach, and they're looking more towards chiropractic?
Being so inside the profession, I want to say absolutely yes. I do think there's a shift. There's no question. You see I know so many more people who really didn't understand chiropractic or didn't understand our mindset and approach to healthcare that are now much more open-minded and much more willing to hear and to see what our approach is. I even have an example, like in my family, my dad said to me, I wish I hadn't followed the herd. And it was like this moment where I said, wow, I think I'm so proud of the fact that I'm a chiropractor. I'm so proud of the fact that I have the mindset and the exposure that I've had, because I think there's probably a lot of people that wish they hadn't followed the herd.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast.
This episode is brought to you by Peach State Payments. Ethical processing, more profit, less stress. Chiro HD, more than an EHR. Practice management simplified. The Chiro Speaking Company. Attract, educate, and convert. Chiro Spring, cloud-based, user-friendly software with all the essential features chiropractors need. Redmond Relight, the IFCO. Chiro Moguls. Chiro Health USA. Sherman College of Chiropractic. Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, and Life West College of Chiropractic. Let's hustle. Hey docs, let me ask you something. Are you adjusting patients but not adjusting your revenue? Because a lot of chiropractors are still undercharging without even realizing it. They're accepting insurance allowances that are just too low. And they're hesitant to raise the fees because they're worried about pushback from patients. The problem is, when your fees and financial systems aren't aligned, it creates a slow leak in your practice. And when you try to grow, more marketing, more patients, maybe even another location, the leak gets bigger. There's actually a smarter way to handle this. Chiro Health USA helps chiropractors charge appropriately when insurance is available while still serving cash or limited benefit patients through a compliant discount medical plan. The results? Many practices see revenue increases around 15 to 20% without adding more visits. Same patients, better margins, more freedom. If you want to stop leaving money on the table and build a practice that's both profitable and compliant, check out chirohealthusa.com to learn more.
Well, I mean, I talked to a lot of people. 1,400 people I've interviewed in the past 8.5 years. So I get a good idea that a grand majority of people out there that have followed the dogma of mainstream, legacy media specifically, there's so many people out there with buyer's remorse for the system that they believed in, like one nation under God, but it wasn't one nation under God. It was one nation under medical, I don't even know how to say the word, coercion. Yeah. Like they were basically coerced into finding a method of thinking that it was going to protect them. And it really was not. So I think there's a lot of people out there, maybe like your pops, that are like, gosh, I have buyer's remorse. I believed in a system that failed me.
Yeah.
And they didn't tell me the truth, and I believed in it. And they did tell me the truth, but it wasn't the truth. Damn it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And there's a lot of people out there, I'm sure, that are dealing with these types of concerns, that are looking for people that actually tell the truth.
Yeah.
And I think that it is becoming more attractive for people to find chiropractic. But in the medical world, I believe chiropractic is a standalone profession still. It's not healthcare. It's chiropractic. And the healthcare arenas tried to absorb chiropractic hook, line, and sinker forever to get them to step in line and say, you guys are part of the healthcare system. And chiropractic has always been like, no, we're really not. We're chiropractors, and you guys are the healthcare people. We're the chiropractic people, if you guys want to keep score. And I just think it's good for clarity, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And if we don't tell these people that listen to our show, like, where we are, then they're following the herd. So I think there is an important factor to tell people, like, chiropractic is chiropractic, and the other people do the other stuff. So just think it's important, because we want to create successful chiropractors, and we want them to follow good pathways to serve the communities. And to, like I say in the beginning, we want them to understand medical freedom, family health freedom. If they understand those things and freedom of speech, the chiropractic profession is beautiful.
Absolutely. 100% agree.
Who are some of your mentors who helped you get to where you are today?
Had a lot over the years. Well, Dr. Lou Harp was who I bought my practice from. And he certainly...
Chiropractor number one, right?
Yeah, exactly. So he helped me quite a bit over the years. Danny Drubin. I worked with him for several years. He was fantastic. He was really, really helpful. I would say on the business side, reading Michael Gerber's book was very, very helpful, with Frank Savinsky.
Was that the E-Myth or
the
was that
E-Myth,
the
yeah.
chiropractic E-Myth?
I've read them both. Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, I've done Tony Robbins. I've done a lot of those things.
Wow. Which Tony Robbins program did you do?
I think all of them. I think I did one in Hawaii in 1998, 99.
Did you ever walk on the hot coals?
Twice, yes. Yeah,
Really?
sure did. Yeah.
Tell me about that. I've actually never asked anybody about that experience. What was it like?
Kind of surreal. You just have to get your mind around it, and you don't feel it. If you are in what he calls the right state, it does. He's right. It does work. And it is, I guess, inspiring that, you can wrap your mind around something and just do it. Just get it done. Just focus and go. So it does teach you that.
That's inspiring because I mean, I've never done it. But I know Tony Robbins has been a huge influence on a lot of people finding their right state for what they're doing in this world. And he's unlocked a lot of people to find what they're supposed to be going and giving them that, I guess, DeMartini calls it the give yourself permission moment.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool. And you said you're working with Rosemary Batansky. What's it like working with Rose? Is it fun?
Oh yeah, she's brilliant. She's focused. I might get a text from her at 10:30 at night or 5:30 in the morning. She really loves what she's doing, and she's an inspiration that way. She's very focused on helping with teams, helping with operations, creating culture. So she's really focused on that piece of creating, transferable value and shoring up a business and a practice. And for me, I'm focused on financials, understanding the profitability, helping, with that side of things. So it's just a really great blend when we've brought the two skill sets together. Yeah.
I'm sure my business partners will say the same thing. Does James sleep? I get text messages at midnight and I get them at 5:30 in the morning.
Hey, I get it. Like I do the same thing. And when I was running drkellyann.com, it was the same thing. I mean, we're just, you have a goal, you have a focus, and, you're all in. So.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. So one of the things I really wanted to talk to you about was two more things is really keeping great associates long-term. And then I want to talk to you about the exit and how you actually help chiropractors do valuation to make sure that the asset that they've been working in for decades doesn't just close down on them. So
sure.
Keeping great associates.
Yeah. I think.
How do you do that?
Well, there's a lot of ways. First is finding the right fit, right? And this does somewhat transition into stepping out of your practice, right? Finding that really great associate who, is similar in approach, who is got the right mindset, who is really wanting to take over for you at some point, right? They're that key employee that you can build and grow. I was fortunate enough to find that, and he's now my partner in my practice. But what I see a lot is doctors who are burned out. Their associate turnover is every 2 or 3 years. The associate will come in, they'll end up leaving either because they don't like the deal, because they want to open their own practice, or the doctor really doesn't give them a reason to stay. And so one of the things that Rose and I have really worked on, and I've also got an attorney that I work with, is helping to what we call vest a key employee. So if you find that right associate and you want to keep them forever, how can you create a program for them to stay and want to stay and give them those next steps in your practice so they don't feel like they're just working and grinding it out forever? So yeah, what I do is work on, vesting, and when I say vesting, what that really means is, profit sharing plans, phantom equity, full equity. What are the reasons that you want them to stay, and what are the reasons they want to stay, and how do we create a win-win environment where they can stay longer and they can at the same time provide you a little more freedom, and help you plan for your eventual exit.
Well, I think we're working on an old model, and I just came to my enlightened moment with you. Is the word associate might be the wrong word for our profession in 2026. The right word might be partner. And I think that we need more partnership within the profession rather than an idea that you have a minion that's going to carry out all of your activities and associate underneath you. And I think the market is saying, I want to have more of a partnership rather than an associateship. They definitely don't want to open their own shops, but they definitely don't want to be an associate either. They want more of a partnership.
Yeah.
I think that's my clarity moment for today, honestly, is the profession needs more partnership, as you're saying, and less associateship.
I love it. And that is absolutely true. I think that's a great way to put it. And I think, again, it's a win-win for both people. You have that security that you have somebody that's going to stay, and they have the security to see what a path forward looks like.
And that's a partnership and not an associate.
Mm-hmm.
That's security's partnership. Associate is, I'm going to be here until I'm ready to leave.
Yeah. And what's the next thing? So give them the next thing. What is that? And that's what we help you build out and help you and help docs put together all the time.
Well, hopefully we start a new trend where docs are actually hiring people as partners and not associates. But I digress. I'm really interested in this exit that you help with too, to make sure that the valuation is strong to where 30 years of investment in a career actually gives somebody to have their feet in the sand when they're done, instead of an evaporating practice around them.
Well, and it's a staggering statistic. I think it's about somewhere between 70 and 85% of practices shut their doors. They don't sell, they don't transition, they don't, they walk away from their patients. And when I figured that out, I'd already been through a couple of exits. I've purchased businesses, so I have a decent amount of experience there. And I was like, we have to do something about this. Doctors shouldn't be walking away with no retirement. They shouldn't be leaving their patients in the lurch. Nobody wants that. I know nobody wants that. And I think there's just a big gap between, students coming out of school with multiple $100,000 in loans, doctors who, perceive maybe selling their practice is kind of like selling their home, where, you put it out there and they're going to sell it in, 3 to 6 months. And you have to prepare. It's a 3 to 5 year process to do properly. It's doing all the things we're doing in Chiro Freedom School, which is like creating transferable value. And what I mean by that is, what are the things in your practice that you can maximize so that the value of your business is stronger? And so when somebody's stepping in to purchase your practice, you've got all the systems in place. You have all the things that you need that are going to protect the buyer, so the buyer doesn't come in and spend $500,000 to $1 million or whatever your practice value is on your practice and not be really sure that all those patients are going to stay. And so one of the things that I highly recommend is, if you want to retire in 3 to 5 years, you need to start today. You need to find that right associate / partner. That associate's going to stay. You want to vet them out for a year or so and then make them a partner. And then they're the key to your retirement. How can you transition that practice over a 3 to 10 year period of time, totally depending on what's happening in the business, to that associate? Make it affordable for them, make it profitable for you, reduce the risk for both of you. There are some really key ways of doing that. And so that's what I mean by, making sure that we start to really transition the profession. Why would you want to be in practice for 25, 30, 40 years and shut your doors? It leaves your patients without a doctor. And there is a solution, but it requires planning and knowledge that it's available to you.
Well, you said a lot of things there that make a lot of sense to me, but I'm just going to round it out with a couple concepts for people.
Please.
Is prepare to exit from the beginning and exit earlier than what you think is appropriate for your practice. Really, the way to sell a practice is patient volume. And a lot of times docs get to the end of their career and patient volume isn't there anymore because they're at a stage where they're kind of at coast mode.
Yeah.
And that's an undesirable practice. So while you can still keep patient volume high and profitable, think about the exit at that high point to where we're not having to rebuild you at the end of your career for the next 3 to 5 years when you don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So instead of forcing the reluctant hand of growth again towards the swan song, we have to start forcing the growth pattern for exit while the troops are still in full force. And that's usually a troop of one. So make sure that troop of one is at full force when you're thinking about exiting out, to where that transition actually puts some money in your retirement rather than evaporating. And we want your feet in the sand, and we don't want your practice to evaporate around you at the last days of your practice. So Jennifer, great episode today. Thanks for sharing so much. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you wanted to share with our audience today?
I don't think so. I think we covered quite a bit. Feel free to reach out to me at any point or at chirofreedomformula.com. So yeah, I think that's it. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. After doing so many of these, you kind of get a flow for understanding where somebody, their interest points are. And I love what you're doing. I think that's really important. I've always loved Rose. I think that chiropractors need to understand business strategy before they understand how to adjust. I think that understanding the adjustment with business strategy gives you everything that you've ever wanted. And you're going to be one of those successful docs out there that has something to sell at the end of your career. And I think that kind of wraps it up, right?
It sure does. That was perfect.
Well, if you guys want to check out what Jennifer and Rosemary are doing, go to chirofreedomformula.com, plug into their systems, take a test drive, and see how they can help you. With that being said, this is episode 757 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. Like I always close out, I tell everybody, you guys are just one story away. Keep hustling. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.